Welcome back to another strange and mysterious podcast. I'm your host, G. How you guys doing?
Define
And
triple nine.
hey, say it louder in the back because we didn't hear it.
Define triple motherfucking nine, baby.
Right? Book.
Empty that clip.
Right? Hey,
Hey, that was kind of cool when you did the cape thing. You disappeared.
hey,
So that's what vampires
vampires.
do.
Vampires go away. Oh,
It didn't
not
work.
working now.
It did work for a second.
I'm back. Well, today, if you guys can't figure it out, we're doing vampires. We haven't done one on the show, so I thought, let's try a different one today. Do you believe in vampires, Define?
I think of all the supernatural stuff, those ones are probably I'm the most skeptical about that
Okay.
and certain ones. But I'm never gonna say never. And then two, there are people that do. I mean, the Mongols drank the blood of their horses when
Hmm.
they would be out if they were in situations where they had no food and
Yeah.
they were gonna die of starvation as a last resort. They would sever one of the arteries on a horse of one of their horses because
Hmm.
when they went out, right, they would have like six or seven horses with them usually,
Hmm.
and as they pillaged and did all their stuff, so they'd keep the horses fed.
Hmm.
But yeah, they would cut
The
the
jugular.
artery, one of the
Hmm.
arteries of the horse, and they would just sit there and drink the milk or the blood, and that would keep them going.
Yeah.
So I would not be surprised if there are some crazy motherfuckers that have been drinking blood and
Tank, baby.
now what's that?
A Swiss roll. My baby came and gave me a Swiss roll.
Oh, how sweet.
Tank, baby.
So I think it's
Mm.
definitely possible that there's people that seek out the blood of others and did possibly in the medieval times. Now, the vampire part, the supernatural part, where they live forever,
Yeah.
that part, I'm way more skeptical about that kind of stuff.
Well, for sure, there's some people who think that this subject sucks.
Well, I don't necessarily think it sucks because I think that there's a lot to be. I think that the legend of the vampires, everything that how it came about was very interesting.
Hey, you get my
And
double meaning, right?
yeah, yeah, they think it sucks.
Hey, it's my dad jokes, even though I'm not a dad.
um, so I find the history of vampire lore quite interesting.
Hmm. Yeah, definitely. You know what's interesting too are like the old photos of people that look very similar to the people now, right?
Mhm.
I think there's one for Jay-Z, there was another one for Pharrell Williams, and they're like their doppelganger, but from a different era.
Yeah,
So,
it's crazy. I mean,
um,
who knows? Maybe the idea of a person that could live long into eternity might the only I guess one of the things that you could think about is eventually, don't you think they would out themselves?
I don't know. I
You
mean,
know what I
it's an
mean?
interesting thing. Who knows?
Who
There's a
knows?
lot of
Maybe.
strange things in the world, right? Who are we to say that it
Yeah.
couldn't happen, right?
Yeah. Like anything's possible.
Hmm. All right, let us get started with our vampires. That's my vampire impression. Hope people like it.
Darkest cases.
Unexplained mysteries.
When people think of vampires, they usually think of the famous fictional bloodsucker Dracula, but there have been plenty of vampire tales that stemmed from real-life events or people. In this video we count down 5 alleged cases of real vampires.
You know, it's always like very creepy when you have someone who's British explaining,
Have
some of these
five.
mysteries, right?
Yep.
5 real cases of vampires. Like,
Have
it's like
five.
creepy. You know what I'm saying?
It's because it's old world. I feel like it's old world.
Yeah,
A lot
it's
of
like
those, a lot
dark.
of those European accents for us Americans, it's automatically creepy because it's old. Old world.
Mm-hmm.
Back in the 1700s, vampire hysteria was all over Europe. Many were afraid of vampires rising from the grave to feed upon them and their loved ones. In 1725, in the village of Kisilava, Serbia, a farmer by the name of Peter died but didn't stay dead. 3 days after his death, Peter returned from the grave, appearing before his son and demanding food. His son fed him, but the next night when Peter returned asking for more, the son refused him, so Peter left. The next morning the son was found dead, and after a few days 9 more people from the village were found dead. Before their death, each of these villagers complained of exhaustion and appeared to have lost large amounts of blood. If that wasn't suspicious enough, they also all claimed to have dreamed of being visited by Peter. Greatly alarmed by these events, the parish priest wrote to a local magistrate, who passed on the news to a nearby commander of imperial troops. He, 2 officers and an executioner arrived shortly after receiving the message, and they promptly set to exhuming the corpses of all who had died. What they found in Peter's grave shocked everyone. Peter's corpse was perfectly preserved and his mouth was covered in blood.
Oh, wow.
After the discovery, a stake was pounded into Peter's chest. After this, they burned his body to ash and then moved on to the bodies of Peter's victims. These were reburied with the normal preventative measures, garlic and whitethorn placed with each corpse in the grave.
Hey, what if Peter really was trying to like be like, hey, I'm hungry, and they want to feed him? Some bullshit,
Well, they got pissed and said, "Okay, well, I'm going to kill your ass."
right?
Well, because you think of back in those times, a lot of people seemed dead and they were just in a coma. That's why they had that. You know, we've talked about this on the show before. If you were to be buried alive, they'd have little bells coming out or ways that the deceased could contact the living.
Mm-hmm.
Because it actually happened all the time because they didn't have good Western medicine. But that is strange if they exhumed, if he was back in the ground, like that's the part that, I mean, they're not gonna, is the vampire gonna dig itself out, go back to its grave, and then put dirt back over it? Like, then it would have to somehow almost ephemerally come out. I don't know. That's a weird one.
That's a strange one, huh? All right,
That's a
let's take a
strange
look
one.
and see the next
But
one.
7 or 8 people did die. So
All right. Hey, should have gave him something to eat, motherfuckers.
yeah, share some. Dude was probably just.
He was
I
hungry,
just dug myself out of a grave.
right?
Feed me, motherfucker. Right?
Dingy son of a bitch,
Stingy motherfucker. Just for that, I'm gonna show you the grave, motherfucker.
right? You gonna join me?
God. God. It is his own son.
This case
Hey, Dad,
I know.
what's up?
That's hilarious.
begins with a herdsman named Mislato of Blow that continued to return to the town even after his death. The undead Mislato would wander the streets while calling out the names of those he recognized as he passed them by. Town officials felt it was needed to take out the threat, so the body of the Blow vampire was exhumed, and a stake was pounded into its heart. Unfortunately, that didn't do the trick, and the vampire returned in a horrifying state, frightening several villagers to death and then suffocating others.
Wow.
The vampire laughed at those that attacked him and even mocked them. Now absolutely desperate, the villagers gave the vampire's sleeping body to an executioner who pierced it with several whitethorn stakes. Once he was finished, he then burned it. While the flames consumed the vampire, suffering screams of the undead could be heard by all.
Wow, that's crazy.
In 1582, residents in a village in Silesia complained of visitations from a bad breath vampire named Canisius. Before joining the ranks of the undead, Johannes Canisius had been a respected citizen. In February 1582, Canisius was fatally injured after being kicked by one of his horses. Before expiring, Canisius lingered for several days, complaining of ghostly visions and feeling like he was on fire. According to one witness, at the time of his death, a black cat entered the room and jumped onto his bed. As befitted his civic status, Canisius was entombed near the altar of his local church, but within a few days several townspeople reported receiving visits from the dead man. All described a deathly stink and an exceedingly cold breath. This smell was believed to be intolerable. The people tolerated these nocturnal visits until late July, when they resolved to exhume Canisius' coffin and deal with his wandering corpse. They found that his skin was tender and florid. His joints were not stiff but limber and movable. When they opened a vein in his leg, the blood sprang out fresh as in the living. After a brief hearing, Canisius' body was thrown onto a bonfire and burned, then hacked to pieces and crushed to ashes. As might be expected, the spirit of Canisius ceased its nocturnal visits.
Yeah, pause that for a second. Yeah, I think he did. He got fucking... What did that do? He got pierced multiple times.
Yep.
Then they burned him. Then they took his bones and smashed them into ash. I assume he was done at that point.
Hey, theoretically, because he just kept getting back up. It was kind of like in Monty Python, remember? Where they faced the Black Knight?
Oh,
and they
yeah.
chopped his leg off. He's like, do you
just a
surrender,
flesh
sir?
wound.
He's like, that's just a flesh wound. And they kept fighting. Come here, I'll bite your numbs off. If you guys don't know Monty Python, you got to check out its old comedy from
check
England.
out some old...
It's quite good. The Life of
it's
Brian.
hilarious. I mean, because they just lived differently back then. Imagine taking a steak. It's not easy getting through the sternum. It takes real force. Imagine taking a steak to anything, even a dead body, and just being there a villager and being like, well, guess we got to take care of this motherfucker.
Right?
Take that steak there.
Slap, slap, slap.
Or just, they just love fucking burning people at the stake too, man.
Right?
It didn't matter if it was...
That was their first go-to. You have a problem, we'll burn you at stake.
Yeah, I was like, I don't know. What are we going to do with this guy? Fuck it, let's burn him.
Right? That was the solve all, right? You have a cold, burn him at the stake.
The dude's like, there's a problem with this guy. What are we going to do? What are we going to do about it? I got an idea.
Right?
Let's fucking burn his ass. And everyone's like, that sounds great. Hey, this is the 10th burning of the month for me. Let's go.
Right?
Let's make it there. Let's give it double digits.
Right? Let's get it going.
Yeah, it didn't matter if they thought you were a witch, or you did something against the Catholic Church, or they thought that you had some kind of, ghostly manifestation of evil, or whatever. It's just
burn him at stake.
Would not want to live in the medieval times, man.
Hey, how's your day going, Dave? Oh, it's my 5th burning of the day. It's been rough. Work's been rough.
Let's make it an even 6.
Right? They just keep coming. They don't stop.
It's just...
Are you still looking for the work, Dave? No, I don't want to get burnt to the stake either, so.
It's just crazy how much they loved that shit back then.
Oh, I know.
Because think about it. Burn some hair, motherfucker. You know that nasty acrimony smell? Have you ever burned hair? And if you talk to people that have been around actual funeral pyres, because there's still places in the world where they do that. A burn-in body, it stinks. It's stanky. It's unlike any smell you will smell.
Mm-hmm.
It's bad. And they say it's because a lot of the oils in our fats in the human, because of our diet and different things like that, it's different. You can burn an animal, you can burn stuff, but when you burn human flesh, it's different.
And then supposedly these people are dead, right? So now you're dealing with some sort of, necrosis. And you're burning? Oh,
the body's already decaying and stinky. Let's just throw it on the fire, see what happens.
Right? Make it to ash. They can't hurt anybody then.
Dude, the stink back then in those times must have just been brutal, dude.
Oh, I know. Hey, no wonder they didn't put deodorant on, huh? They're like, hide it, fucking mask it. Smell yourself.
Yeah, they were like, guy had taken a shower in a week and go, this is the nicest smelling shit I've smelled all week.
Right, delish. Come here, baby. Smooch me out.
Ray's crazy.
Let's continue.
The Phantom of Groglin Grange is one of the best-known vampire stories in Britain. Legend tells that Groglin Grange was in the hands of the Fisher family for many centuries. In the early 19th century, the Fishers moved from the property into larger dwellings and put the property up to let. All during the cold long winter, the house was empty. As the winter passed into spring, the Grange was finally let to 2 brothers and a sister called the Craneswells. It seems that they enjoyed life to the full, and soon settled into village routine and socialized with the local people. They were well liked within the village and loved their new home very much. One summer's evening, Miss Cranswell looked out the window in the direction of the darkened churchyard at the bottom of their long lawn, and noticed something peculiar in the vicinity of the churchyard. It seemed that above the darker blackness of the gravestone she could see 2 points of lights moving. In time they moved from the graveyard over the shadows of the wall, moving closer onto the bottom of the lawn where they played around the churchyard wall. By this time Miss Cranswell's curiosity had given way to a deep feeling of unease. She closed the window tight, bolted the door and laid down in her bed to try and get some sleep. On the verge of sleep she was suddenly jolted awake by the low rustling from outside the window. She twisted in bed and sat upright. Outside the window were 2 points of light which she now recognized as the vampire's eyes.
Ooh, hell no.
She tried to scream but terror froze the sound in her throat. He stepped to the bed and in one movement grabbed her hair and pulled her head back as if to deliver a kiss. The brothers sleeping in separate rooms were aroused by a loud high-pitched scream that seemed to shake the very walls of the Grange. In a moment they were before their sister's door. The door was locked, so they smashed through it, breaking into a devastating scene. There was a stench of mouldy decay in the air, and upon the bed lay their sister, blood pumping from gashes in her neck. One of the brothers rushed to the open window and just caught sight of a shadow flittering across the bottom of the lawn near the churchyard. They managed to stop the blood and revive Miss Cranswell. The next few hours were spent in an attempt to save her life. Miss Cranswell survived the attack, and when she was strong enough to travel they took her to Switzerland to recuperate in the fresh mountain air. When the full story was in the open, the brothers swore revenge on the creature. So it came to be that the Cranswells returned to Croglin one dark winter's day. Miss Cranswell took her place in the room overlooking the churchyard, and as the moon rose a pair of bright lights shone in the shadows of the churchyard. Once more the figure of a man appeared at the window, and picked the glass to gain entry to the bedchamber. This time the two brothers were lying in wait in the shadows. As the figure came to step into the room they both released shots at the creature. There was a low howl and the creature sped off in the direction from where it came. Not wishing to follow such a night creature into its domain, the two brothers waited for daybreak. First thing in the morning they took Miss Cranswell to safety, and gathered all the residents of the Grange around them to carry out their gruesome task. The men searched the graveyard for any signs of disturbance. On finding none they turned their attention to the church. All was quiet, but they noticed the door was slightly ajar. Pushing into the crypt they was met with a horrific scene. All around the crypt were the scattered remains of broken coffins, and gnawed human bones. One coffin stood alone in the corner and seemed to have been left untouched by the chaos.
Yeah, not good.
The villagers wrenched off the coffin lid. Inside, wrapped in mouldy clothes, was what they assumed to be a vampire. Its eyes were cold and lifeless in the daylight, but a fresh pistol wound was gaping from one of the creature's legs. The villagers dragged the coffin and its demonic contents out into the churchyard and burned the lot to ashes.
Burn it again.
Nobody seems to know where this strange creature came from, or why it had remained dormant in the centuries of peace when the Fishers lived in the property. One can only surmise that during the period of dereliction, an age-old horror was reawakened, and would not return to rest after the house was reoccupied.
Alright, number 1.
She has been described as the most vicious female serial killer in all recorded history. Born in 1560, she was endowed with looks, wealth, an excellent education and a stellar social position as one of the Bathory family, who ruled Transylvania as a virtually independent principality within the Kingdom of Hungary. When she was 11 or 12, Elizabeth was betrothed to Ferenc Nadezhdy, but a year or two later she had a baby by a lower order lover. Nadezhdy was reported to have him castrated, and then torn to pieces by dogs.
Damn.
The child was quietly hidden from view, and Elizabeth and Nadezhdy were married in 1575 when she was 14. Because Elizabeth socially outranked her husband, she kept the surname Bathory, which he added to his own. The young couple lived in the Nadezhdy castle in Hungary, but Nadezhdy was an ambitious soldier and was often away. Elizabeth ran the estates, took various lovers and bore her husband 4 children. Word was beginning to spread about her sadistic activities. It was said that she enjoyed torturing and killing young girls.
Damn.
At first they were servants at her castles, daughters of the local peasants, but later they included girls sent to her by local families to learn good manners. She believed that drinking the blood of young girls would preserve her youthfulness and her looks.
Wow.
Witnesses told of her stabbing victims or biting their breast, hands, faces and arms. cutting them with scissors, sticking needles in their lips, or burning them with red-hot irons.
Okay.
Some were beaten to death and some were starved. A minister went to the Hungarian authorities, who eventually began an investigation in 1610. Elizabeth was placed in solitary confinement, with only small slits left open for ventilation and the passing of food. She remained there for 4 years until her death. On the evening of the 21st of August 1614, Elizabeth complained to her bodyguard that her hands were cold, whereupon
Hey, I think it's funny. Look, there's a toilet bowl just chilling.
Yeah. Yeah.
Hey,
They didn't
somebody
have toilets.
photoshopped that shit.
They didn't have toilets back then.
No, it'd been in the corner somewhere.
Yeah. Or what they had were holes in certain parts of the home.
he replied, "It's
Yeah, they had holes that they would use the restroom in.
Yeah. Yeah.
nothing,
Even-
mistress, just go lie down."
What's up?
Even like, so the castle had the areas where you would shit and it would fall outside the castle. But normal homes, my understanding back then is they would have like a bucket or something that would just collect the waste. And then once or twice a day, they would take it out and there were these ditches that had water running through them that they would just throw the waste in.
Oh Lord,
Yeah. You
no,
had
that's
like,
shitty.
you had literally shit streams
Oh my
outside your
God,
house. Yeah.
that's gross.
She went to sleep and was found dead the following morning.
All right,
What do you think?
I don't know. There's some pretty interesting, stories from the past. My question would be is, are there any other vampire-like creatures that have been in other cultures that they could collaborate or corroborate with as far as, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Being a phenomenon that's worldwide and not just, in the English
In
area.
Western Europe. Yeah.
Yeah. Like, are there any other stories that kind of say, hey, there's similarities between the, European and, Native American or Chinese or, you know what I mean? But I think that would be
I
interesting
think
to find.
I think Asia has some
Vampire-ish.
vampire-ish ghoul stories.
Hmm.
I think I remember reading something about Indonesia also having that. Essentially blood. It's essentially
Mhm.
the blood. Either they drink the blood, they drain you of the blood, they bathe in the blood. I think that in Asia there might be a few. But that, like you said, that would be one way of sort of corroborating. Is there there'd be a few things next to that, right? Mainly be the blood, subsisting on blood. Now, again, I think the immortality thing is just part of the story that Bram Stoker brought up, came upon it. I don't believe that, but maybe there's some rare genetic thing where people crave blood.
Hmm.
They crave it to eat or to bathe in or to be surrounded in, or there's something about it. And maybe because we've all heard of the weird obsessions and weird shit that the mental human mind can go through.
Yeah.
But I that would be an interesting thing to look into. Are there across worldwide cultural stuff
Hmm.
supernatural or ghoulish stories about creatures that are obsessed with human blood?
Hmm. I know Aztecs, right? They loved,
Yeah. Oh, they
draining
loved
their
it.
blood, right?
They drained blood. They took hearts out, and while they were pumping,
Hmm.
but that I think is more cultural religious. But I would, because one of the things that for me would help corroborate some of the vampiric stories would be if the whole like in the shadows thing, right? Because
Hmm.
generally you would think that if you were doing this type of stuff, it would not be state sanctioned or culturally sanctioned. So you would be ostracized, you would be a criminal, you would be someone to be afraid of, right? It wouldn't be state sanctioned. So the myths would rise up about these people that would go out and drain their victims of their blood.
Yeah. I don't know. Anything is possible. So I don't know. We'd have to look more into it, but
I do say that the story of that woman, I think I've read parts of that,
Mhm.
and supernatural or not, she is one scary motherfucker.
Right. Imagine being her boyfriend and not giving her teas and crumpet.
And
Trickle sweat. Right.
that's she sad, sadism is scary shit, right?
Hmm.
When you enjoy killing, torturing, murdering young girls and children, you got
You got some issues.
you got some real fucking
Hey,
issues.
you gotta go. You can't be on Earth anymore.
Or you're ready for the fire, baby.
You ain't lying. Hey,
When you're doing shit
another
like
one.
that, I'm not as prestigious. I mean, I'm not a big lover of the five burning people like they were back in the Middle Ages. But I gotta say, there might be some instances where burning someone at the stake would apply, and it
Hey,
would be if you are a torturer and killer of children. I could see that.
hey, I hate to point fingers, but we'd be like,
That guy over there needs to be the next
hey,
one burned.
mm, yeah.
Yeah.
All right. Well, that's been our show for this week. We'll catch you on the flip side. Peace.
Adios.